Listen, today's guest took a trip like in 2018 and she booked it. It was a group trip to a far, far away place, Thailand. After having to salvage the trip, she realized what needed to be done to create a memorable first time experience abroad. Almost immediately, she decided to use her 14 plus years of project management experience and her love for travel to fill in the gap in the travel industry. She created a space where her community could be inspired to pursue their largest travel dreams. And that was the beginning of Black and Traveled. In today's show, we're super excited to have Sabrina Carter-Anderson here with us in the virtual studio. And our topic, the importance of travel to business owners. We're going to get right into it right after this quick intro. Don't you move. You are listening to and watching the Sharvette Mitchell radio show.
Whoa. Why y'all so happy?
You don't know? Sharvette Mitchell is on the radio.
It's time to get motivated, excited, and influenced. Why? It's the Sharvette Mitchell radio show, live from Richmond, Virginia. And now, here to motivate, excite, and influence you, Sharvette Mitchell.
Well, hello, everybody. We are so excited to have you joining us here on the Sharvette Mitchell radio show, broadcasting live from the capital city of Richmond, Virginia, but heard and seen all across the World Wide Web. Welcome to all of those that are listening and watching live from Facebook. We are glad to have you. Those that are listening and watching live from LinkedIn and YouTube and Twitter and Sharvette.com and all of the amazing places that we broadcast to. And thank you for those that listen and are listening to this in the podcast version or the talk show version. We are always excited that you are here with us. Go ahead and hit subscribe and make sure that content is downloaded to you every week that we are here with our guest. If you're brand spanking new to me, I am Sharvette Mitchell, the CEO of Mitchell Productions, and we're a marketing firm. We work with female entrepreneurs. Sometimes a few lucky men get sprinkled in, all about helping them generate more revenue by focusing on their marketing, their visibility, and their branding. And we do that with one-on-one consulting with our 12-month group coaching program called The Platform Builder, that's based off of our trademarked framework, with events, book collaborations, and this outlet, the Sharvette Mitchell radio show. So we're glad to have you here. We see viewers coming on in, giving us love and shouts outs on YouTube. Hey, Kim. Hey, Zama. Thank you so much. Family is in the house there. Hello, my mom is always here. Hey there. We're excited that you all are joining us as we are going to be having this conversation all around the importance of travel for business owners. And specifically, this conversation is related to business owners. But if you are interested in traveling, like to travel, you're absolutely in the right place. I'm literally going to be jumping on a plane in the morning. And this year actually has been a travel year for me. So as I am on one side of the mic, trust and believe, as my friend Sherelle Diamond Hogan says, I'm greedy enough to listen as well. I'm greedy enough to listen and not just serve in this case. Hey, Deborah, thank you so much for being here as well. So let me tell you a little bit more about our guest, and so we can bring her up to the mic and get this party officially started. Sabrina Carter-Anderson is here with us of Black and Traveled. And I'm telling you, as I just mentioned how she kind of got started, she really wants to empower Black men and women to expect luxury and value. And most of all, she wants to provide a safe place for them to travel without without the limitations of expecting a failed plan, failed trip, the limitations of canceled trips, and the fear of traveling alone. And she created Black and Travel just to solve this. And so since its inception, they have traveled to 7 countries, and there are more bucket list destinations to go. We're excited to have Sabrina Carter-Anderson here with us in the virtual studio, getting ready to come up to the mic. And as a reminder, this segment and episode is brought to you by my 7th annual in-person conference, the Platform Builders Summit. You'll be hearing a little bit more about that in the show. Put your virtual hands together and welcome Sabrina up to the mic. Hello, hello.
Hello, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great.
Oh, wow. So let's jump right on in. So that first trip that kind of sparked all of this, was it a debacle? Was it what happened?
You know what? I'm lucky in that I'm flexible, and that my friend that I went with was also flexible, because we got there and were immediately kind of told, everything that we were sold online, we wouldn't be able to do. So we had all these activities listed every day, and our tour guide was like, you can't do any of this. None of this is going to work. And so we really had to rejigger the whole entire trip. We had to change everything around. And luckily, there was just me, her, and another woman who was traveling by herself. And we all got along well, and we made the best of it. But so many learnings, so many.
Yeah. And this conversation is specific to traveling abroad, right?
Yes.
Yeah. What are some of the maybe myths or misconceptions that people have about traveling abroad, and in particular, people of color?
Yeah, a lot of times I run into, and it's strange because not everybody speaks English, and it seems to be a really big fear going abroad that you won't be able to communicate.
Yeah.
And my response is, money is universal. So everybody figures it out. Even in Thailand, which historically really does not speak a ton of English, better, we figured it out.
Yeah.
So, there's not that language barrier fear, I think, that happens with a lot of people. And then the flight issue. So a lot of times people are like, I don't want to fly that far. But if you don't think about it that way, I always ask people, are you going to let 10 hours stop you from seeing across the world? And it really does sound, if your answer is yes, you kind of have to sit back and be like, am I really gonna, we sit and binge watch a whole season on a Saturday. What? On the plane? So when you start to equate it to things like sitting on the couch and watching a full, 10 series episode for 10 hours, you could be anywhere by then. So just getting people really comfortable. I think people kind of lean into the myths as a reason, that's not a safe place. I'm like, well, who told you that?
Yeah.
Well, I heard a story, and I'm like, don't ever go by anything you hear, go see, because your experience could be completely different.
And I think that what's so beautiful about thinking about going abroad for people of color really expands your horizon and thought process.
Yes.
Would you agree, kind of in these 7 trips you have under your belt, what has changed for you?
For me, I was an avid traveler even beforehand, but what I absolutely love is watching people have their own transformation. So a lot of times I have people who this is their first time going this far. It's their first time traveling alone. I've had it be friends who were all traveling together. And there's a air of oh, I don't want to do that. Oh, I'm scared of heights. I'm not going to go on the Bali swings. And I literally forced a group of women. I'm like, just go look. And I turned around, and maybe an hour later, I look over and they're all in flowing dresses and on the swings. And I was like, see what happens when you just open up a little bit, you kind of expand exactly what you're even capable of doing.
And is there a transformation kind of in their mindset all overall after that experience?
Yes. I had one of them come up to me. She's like, I'm so glad you made me do it. She's like, because I was going to go to the other hotel. She goes, but I would have never done this. And now I'm wondering, how many things have I not done because I immediately said, I can't do it. I don't want to do it. And I'm like, you never know until you try it.
Until you try. And so as we are thinking about certainly abroad, and our conversation slanted to business owners, what are some of the things that are important for business owners to think about as far as traveling for business, abroad, or just traveling and making sure that they keep travel as a part of an outlet or self-care avenue?
I think that's usually what I'm always telling people. I always ask people, are you taking your time off? Because a lot of times, especially business owners, we get so into the how to do it. We get into the what we're doing every day. We get into our goals. We get into our wins, and we look up and we haven't done anything for ourselves.
Yeah.
And you need that sort of expansion of just getting out of the way. It's not enough to just move outside of your laptop or I'm going to go to a hotel. You sometimes need that exact journey of getting on a plane, getting myself really far away, going into something different for you to really kind of release and let yourself relax.
So where would be some of the places that you would recommend for first time? Let's do first time traveling abroad. Maybe this business owner is listening, saying, okay, I'm ready to step out there. Or what are some, it could be a list of places that you recommend abroad.
So what I tell people a lot of times, and I went back, I went in October to Morocco. And
Ooh.
It is flying from JFK, direct flight, is 6.5 hours.
Oh, that's not bad at all.
It is not a very long trip. It is, I always joke, it's one feature film from Vegas if you're going from the east to the west. And so it still allows you that away because you are at the gate of the Sahara. You are very much in a whole other country, but you don't have to do the 14 hours to Dubai or the 22 hours to Thailand. You can still get that same feeling and being away and international without the very long flight. And for me, that's always a nice stepping stone for people to get from like the Caribbean to their next sort of stepping point. Because again, it's depending on where you're coming from, it might be only 2 more hours.
Wow.
When you're somewhere. And whenever I say that, people are like, wait, it's
like,
that close? I'm like, it's that close.
And you bring up Dubai, and that seems to be like the hottest topic, like that's kind of taking over these travel streets. Do you think there's some particular reason why Dubai just seems to be, hot when there's this whole world out there?
I think it just became the hot thing to do. I run into people a lot who want to go to Dubai. I actually was someone who didn't want to go and was never interested. And I had clients who were like, but I want to go. And I'm like, okay. And I finally went. I did the thing and opened up my mind. And I actually really enjoyed it. It is very much like us. And so I think that gives people that feeling of being away without feeling like you're not really far from home.
Okay.
They very much all speak English. It's very modern. They're super technology driven. They have like the highest and biggest and tallest and of everything. And it gives that luxury that I think people tend to gravitate to. It looks amazing, but it is very close to a metropolitan city.
Interesting.
You go 45 minutes out, you're in the desert, but it's very, very city. And I think that makes people comfortable.
Good. And so for that business traveler, maybe your 3 top tips as we think about, making sure that, travel is like a part of, what you're doing.
I think the one thing I hear a lot, and I always try to tell people, is set up that there is a way that you can step away from your business. Because that I think is always the biggest fear is that if I'm not managing my business, how am I going to be comfortable going away? And it's like, okay, but you are going to have to make that a part of what you do. Set it up so that you have somebody who can follow up. You don't have to necessarily be so tied to your computer and your phone, and you can allow yourself to relax. So I always say have a plan for how you're going to get away from the work. Because otherwise it's never going to work. You're just going to work from your hotel at a beautiful place that you'll never actually see. So that then again, always be open, do new things, do new experiences, because it opens your mind in a way that when you come back and now you're solving a problem, you immediately might have a different creative thought than you would have doing the same thing.
Yeah.
And it's almost something you don't really recognize until you're able to do it. And then I tell them a little bit works. It doesn't have to be 9 days. It can be a short weekend. It can be 4 or 5 days. Take baby steps, but take the time off.
Take the time off. Well deserved. You are definitely deserving of it. If you're just popping in, you're checking out the Sharvette Mitchell radio show. We have Sabrina Carter-Anderson here with us, Black and Traveled. Check out blackandtravel.com. What experiences do you all have planned that are coming up?
So in about 2 weeks, I have a group of 13 going to Cuba. So that is, it's probably one of my favorite places to go.
Tell us why.
It is, imagine going into a time capsule. That is going to Cuba. You are literally going 50 to 60 years back in time.
Wow.
And it's amazing. Like, it's just, the people are great. It's culturally and like historically, it's just a different view than I think people are used to seeing. And you kind of have to relax. The Wi-Fi there is not the most, reliable.
So you're not going to be doing Facebook Lives and doing a whole lot there.
Not a lot of onlining unless you're in your casa. But it's probably one of my favorite places to go. I was just there in November. This is also my first trip that I'm not going to be going on. I have a host going on, so I'm trying not to have a heart attack.
Right. Because you've been on all of the other trips.
I've been on every single trip. And then after that, I've got Greece and Bali like May and June. So,
are you going on those?
I'll be going on those. It'll be my second time in Greece, which I really enjoyed Greece. And I'm really super excited for June for Bali. It's a small group. So I actually like going when there's like very little amount of people going, because I really get to enjoy it. But so.
And, I think you bring up a great point, in particular for business owners. A lot of times we have more flexibility in our schedules versus maybe if we have friends who work 9 to 5s, corporates, and I put in air quotes 9 to 5, that we may be able to get away. And so it sounds like, if they want to do something with Black and Travel, you could go alone, but then be with a group.
Yep, exactly. And that's kind of my thing. You don't have to, just because you're traveling solo doesn't mean you're alone. And so I keep the groups around 20 people because it's easier to kind of get integrated into a group when there's not 40 people all traveling.
Right.
So it just allows the community, and it allows you to experience things with other people. And I think that also helps sort of change and have that transformation of how you think about things. So
I love that. How can people somebody heard Bali and was like, oh, somebody heard Greece and said, oh, tell me more. How can listeners and viewers find out more?
So they can head right over to the website. All of the upcoming 2024 trips will be on the calendar. They're all there now, but they'll all be open for registration on the 1st of April. So doing a lot of early bird now. This year, I'm having 12 trips in 2024.
Wow.
And planning for 18 in 2025. So
listen, I am loving this. We outside. We outside.
Well, I was inside for 2 years, so
yeah. we gotta make up for it. So we're gonna take a quick commercial break, but when we come back, I want to talk about kind of like some tactical things like passports and people that might have anxiousness around flying, and plus size passengers and different things like that. So we'll kind of get into some nitty gritty. I'm going to let you relax back in the green room, enjoy some of our snacks there. Again, if you just popped in, we are excited to have you here checking out this great topic, the importance of travel for business owners. And we have a beautiful guest here who has some options for you. So if you're like, hey, I want to do this, listen, we got the connect for you, blackandtravel.com. So as mentioned a little bit earlier, this segment is brought to you by my 7th in-person event, and it is the Platform Builder Summit that is coming November 3rd and 4th. That's a Friday and Saturday in Richmond, Virginia. Thursdays is for VIP only, and VIP is sold out. However, we are planning an amazing the Platform Builder Summit. It is an amazing event. The theme is to amplify your brand and boost your profits. So it's all around marketing and visibility and all of that for your business. We've got speakers coming to talk about Facebook ads, Chat GPT, speaking, content creation, marketing, and all the things. But I just wanted to share with you a really quick commercial of why I think it's so important for women in particular to come aside and pull together and have really like this in-person community. So here's a quick little snippet from one of my retreats that was held in Orlando, Florida. Take just a quick listen. There is something incredibly powerful about women business owners and leaders connecting. I mean, really connecting. Yes, online networking is great and it's convenient. However, there is nothing like the energy and vibe of meeting in person. It cannot be replaced. If you thrive in community, I encourage you to connect with and pursue your tribe. Maybe that's with a group of friends. Perhaps that is a local networking event or with women you connect with through a business program or cohort. Someone asked me, why do you host conferences and retreats and encourage your clients to do the same? I responded with a quote from event leader and small business advocate, Lauren Casilia. Your audience needs to know each other and you need to be the connector. My hope for high-achieving women entrepreneurs is that they have a safe space to be heard, to be seen, and to be free. All right, so that's why I host events, and I look forward to seeing you at the Platform Builder Summit. So let's bring our guests back in, because some of you will have to travel to come to this. This is stateside, but let's bring Sabrina Carter-Anderson back in, Black and Traveled. Welcome back from our commercial break, and so I want to. This is reality radio. Can you hear me, Sabrina?
Yes, I can.
Okay, I don't know what's going on with my mic, but so let's kind of maybe pull down some barriers. I am always the person that wants to snatch away excuses. So for the person that says, I don't know, I've never done a passport, my passport expired. Talk a little bit about like making sure they know what's going to be needed for their passport.
Yes. So passports right now, I would say is time. So if you need your passport, if it's expired right now, even if you don't have any plans, do your renewal for your passport or get your passport now. It's taking about 13 weeks to get your passport back. So even if you're not going anywhere, get your passport and just hold on to it, because when you do need it, that's the worst time to try to get it.
Yes.
Because then you're going to be stuck with like the 1-day turnaround, and that can be really, really expensive. You might have to go out of state in order to get an appointment. I've had a client who had to go to Boston from New Jersey in order to get her day turnaround on her passport. So even if you don't have any travel plans and your passport expired, or you think you might want to travel, get your passport now.
Go ahead and get it. And what about visas? Are some of the places that you go to? I know we had an experience. My mom, who's in the audience, we went to, we did a cruise. We flew into Argentina. And before we could get on the cruise, that was kind of Brazil based during, all of that. Brazil required a visa. How do visas and things of that nature work? And your company probably handles that if people travel with you all.
Yeah. So I usually, if it's not being handled directly by me, then it's, I always make sure you have all the information. So the good thing about when there's visas necessary is that a lot of times you can either do them online early, or you have the option to do it right at the airport. I was just going to Zanzibar and you had the option. You could do it online, or as soon as you got off the plane, you walk right up to you fill out the paperwork and you do it right there. So as long as you have the knowledge that you need one, then you'll know to get one, because not everyone needs a visa, but like not every country has the need for a visa. But when they do, it's usually pretty easy to get it.
All right. So we can check the.
Mike won't let you be great.
This literally like never happened. Okay, I literally don't even know what's going on here. This never happens. So the person that is scared, so like I'm not going to move. The person that is scared to fly. So some people understand they're cool with flying, but they're like, I don't want to do 10 hours. But there are people who are like, no, I'm scared to fly. What do you say to that person?
Yeah, that one. Anxious flyers are, there's a large group of them. I always tell people, if you're an anxious flyer, caffeine is not your friend. Do not drink the coffee. Don't, because that's going to get your heart elevated anyway. So then when you start to have anxious feelings, it makes it even worse. So especially if it's a long flight, make sure you're comfortable, make sure you have like your compression socks. And then if there is something, depending, because I'm a big jet lag person, so I always try to make sure people understand how not to be jet lagged. But
Oh,
there's a way.
okay.
Making sure that you, like, if you're going to take like a Z-Quil or going to take something to help you sleep, just make
Mhm.
sure that you're in the right time zone to do so. So you don't want to land when it's daytime or nighttime and you've slept a 14-hour flight.
Yeah.
That's just going to make it worse when you got to come back and you're going to feel groggy. So, just making sure you're well rested, you have your own food, you have your own comforts, because especially internationally, if you're not in business class, sometimes the food is not awesome.
Speaking of which, so there's a couple different ways to travel, right? Have people, in your experience, what's kind of the range of the pricing that people would see, kind of like for some of these international flights, kind of like low end to high end, just so people can have a frame of reference? Sometimes people just don't know the frame of reference.
Right. And I run into that a lot. People just don't know how much it costs. So the immediate reaction is like, ooh, that's a lot. When in
Yeah.
reality, it's generally just how much it costs.
Yeah.
So you can get an international flight $600, $700, depending on where you're going. I think our flight to Thailand might have been $850. A lot of it is when are you going and how early you're getting your flight. Flights to Dubai, if you can get it for under 1,000, you got the best deal ever. They're usually running around 1,100 to almost 1,400, depending. Same thing for Zanzibar. That flight's about $1,400. You can go to Europe though. I've done London. I've gotten a London deal for $600, $700.
Okay. Wow. And so that is standard coach. What would be the ranges that we would see for business and first class?
Now, business class, I've unfortunately gotten accustomed to it, and now I haven't been able to go back.
Sister, you're talking my language, sister.
I did it once now. I haven't seen the back of that plane yet.
Can't go back. I can't go back.
I do it. And sometimes I'm looking at the price ticket because it sometimes can be 3 times the amount of your economy flight. But then I remember being able to lay my feet back and the food. And I think sometimes if you are an anxious flyer, being in economy is not really the place you want to be. It makes more sense for you to have a little bit extra room. Going up to business class is probably your better bet just because you can get comfortable. You can lay down. Depending on the flight, you might have the sides. I love a good Q suite from Qatar Airways. So there's other amenities there and comfort that come with it. And so you're not so tight this way and tight this way. You can relax. But the business class ticket can be pricey and the first class is even worse. But it's worth it. It's worth it.
It's worth.
Oh, I lost you again. It just doesn't like it today. It's like a faulty wire.
This cray. Okay. Switch it to another port. Maybe it doesn't like that port. Y'all, the regular viewers and listeners, y'all know. Put a 1 in the comments. Like, this don't normally happen.
This is not normal.
But it like, here we are. But yeah, so I love the thought of that. And let me tell you, so domestically, I travel first class. It wasn't initially because I was trying to be bougie or whatever. But I'm a tall, broad sister, right? And I was buying two coach seats because I didn't want my hip on somebody else's hip.
Yes.
So I was just buying 2 coach seats. And an acquaintance one day said, why aren't you just flying first class? And it had never occurred to me to even look at the pricing. I just assumed it was going to be so astronomical and so far. And so I never even looked at it. And in most cases, I was paying more than a first class ticket. By doing 2 economy. And so sometimes just look, you might be thinking it's so lofty when you look at it, it might not be as wild and crazy as you think too.
And if you're planning ahead, a lot of times I'm planning ahead. So I'm looking to see what the cost is. And I can get a business class seat cheaper if you don't wait.
Yeah.
So
So there you go. Let me upgrade you. Okay. Thank you, Ayana Smith. She was like, it's okay. I know my viewers and my listeners here. They're like, we know this don't normally be happening. Yeah. Thanks, Kim. My blood sister's like, yeah, this don't normally happen. All right. Thank y'all. I knew y'all was out there. So plus size travelers, any thing that you would say to plus size travelers that would help, kind of with their travel plans, or maybe helping them think through, I can do this.
I do think opting for like a first class seat or it just makes you more comfortable, because I think a lot of it sometimes is just like self-consciousness.
Yeah.
And so it eliminates that immediately and you're more comfortable. And so even if you're traveling domestically, sometimes it's just better I'm like, you know what, I'm going to want to sleep. I'm just going to want to sleep. Like tonight, I'm going to want to sleep.
She's getting on a plane tonight. I'm getting on a plane in the morning.
I'm going to want to sleep. So I opted for the first class seat because I just I want to actually sleep. So, and I don't want to be self-conscious about the person next to me or anything else. So I'm just going to get the first class seat. So getting the larger seat, getting a business class seat kind of eliminates all of that. And it just allows you to relax.
And I so agree. And I'm leaning over because you
moved.
This is crazy. I'm like literally nothing.
Oh, whatever you did it again.
Okay. And I'm over my time. I done took more time than I asked for. So we're wrapping up right now. But I got my own extender. So this is one thing that I've done. It came in a beautiful blue velvet case, little bag from Amazon. It's in my Amazon store. So I don't have to, and I was doing this before the pandemic. So certainly during the pandemic, it was better to do this because you didn't have to worry about as many germs. But for people who feel self-conscious, because sometimes I hear it never stressed me, but some people are very stressed about having to even ask for one of these. Sis, get your own, and that takes away one thing. So
yeah. And that's all it is. It's really just taking away your own anxiety about it.
So there is that. All right. How can viewers and listeners, one more time, connect with you, find out about your trips, go on trips, and all that good stuff?
I am Black and Traveled online. I'm Black and Traveled on the website, Black and Traveled on Instagram and Facebook. So pretty easy all the way across, just Black and Traveled.
All right. And you also have a Slay and Vacay.
I do.
Yeah,
I started a Slay and Vacay series. It's a live series on Mondays because I do get a lot of questions, and especially with a community that doesn't really travel a ton. We are 9% of the 33% of U.S. travelers who have visas. So we're not using our passports.
Wow. Not people of color, only 9%.
9%. Hispanics are 10%. And if you identify as Black or African American, it's 9% of the 33%. So it's already a small percent of Americans who have passports. We're even smaller. Yeah. So I getting a lot of
wait a minute, you just dropped some knowledge right there. Only 33% of Americans have passports. So as I think about business owners, and I'm always talking like what makes you a leader, what pushes you above the pack. Even having a passport.
Is that just there? Is that simple? Having a passport.
Wow.
But there's so many questions. So I've been answering a lot of questions. I'm going to have some people on to just talk about different topics to get people just more comfortable having the conversation. So
yeah. So as Cookie says, out of New York, get your passport. Get it. Well, thank you so much for stopping by. And I look forward to meeting you in person and just sharing nuggets and this mission that you're on. So thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
All right, you are welcome. Wow, that was a fun conversation there. So hopefully it maybe got your wheels turning, or you might be saying, "Hey, I'd like to travel. I just didn't have anybody to go with, or I didn't have anyone to connect with." Well, Black and Traveled is a space that you can connect and do that, and you have a resource. Thank you, Kimberly. She said, "Love this." Yes, my mom is saying, "Get your passport." She's an avid traveler. I forgot, Mom, type in where you're going next. Oh, you're an immediate trip, but honey, Dubai and cruises and Alaska and oh my goodness, she loves to travel. So I can't remember where she's going, somewhere in April. Type in the chat where you're going in April. But connect with Black and Traveled. Again, I think it's really great, in particular for business owners, because sometimes we have more flexibility in our schedule, or in a space, or sometimes you have more income that you can go, and maybe family, friends, what have you, don't have it. And so this is a great option for you. Thank you. If you're listening over on YouTube, subscribe to our channel. If you're listening to any of the podcast platforms, subscribe so that you get reoccurring notices of our show, the Sharvette Mitchell Radio Show. And the goal is to motivate, excite, and influence. And we know that this segment motivated and excited you. And it's going to be a wrap today. Yes, my sister Kim's like, good info for us Black people to prepare to travel. Yeah, it's time to get in these streets. We're going to wrap it up for today. We will see you all. And my mom is probably still trying to type in where she's going. I can't remember, but I'm going to wrap it up. I was trying to wait for you. But we're going to see you all in these. Okay. Here it is. Okay. It's Cabo, St. Lucia, Mexico. Okay. There you go. That's where she's going. I knew she had somewhere lined up. All right. We'll see you all later in these internet streets. Thanks.
Live from Richmond, Virginia, you've been listening to the Sharvette Mitchell Radio Show. Get Sharvette Mitchell every Tuesday at 6 p.m., interviewing all the stars you want to hear from. So until next week, stay motivated, excited, and influenced. This is the Sharvette Mitchell Radio Show.